You know what, Higehiro is criminally underrated. In fact, it doesn't get talked about nearly as much as it should. Now, me and Higehiro, we've sort of had a love-hate relationship before in the past. We used to be really good friends, but, people change and we sort of drifted apart. But I'm willing to give him a second chance. And you know what? I'm really glad that I did. In these past two updates, the developers of Higehiro have really taken this show to new levels, and have started experimenting with the story in ways that I never expected them to. Believe it or not, guys, but they moved away from talking about wars. Hell, in the past two updates, there's been no mention of Iraq or the Sino-Japanese War. I almost didn't know what to think at first, and I was instantly appalled. But this is one of those instances where you shouldn't trust your first instinct. Really, Higehiro is an album that clicks with you on the third or fourth listen, and it's definitely one that encourages critical listening. But hey, if the show has stepped away from talking about wars, then what is it now? Well, the answer is that it's simply an extremely well-written, character-based drama, and one of the best ones I've ever seen in anime, as a matter of fact. For once, it really feels like the characters are actually real. They react like how a normal person would. They make decisions, similar to how the average person should act. And so in this way, Higehiro has managed to completely eliminate the cognitive dissonance between the story missions and the free roam of open world games. And a lot of other games have tried this before but failed miserably, with Grand Theft Auto 4 being an extremely notable example. And the dialogue, it's incredible. Honestly, I haven't heard lines that were written so naturally since the opening of Metal Gear Solid 2. And the acting in this movie, it's on par with Pulp Fiction, but some of the features on the latter half of this album are a bit bizarre to say the least. I thought DaBaby did a great job, but bringing in Fred Durst on the last verse seemed like an odd move. I do think that the character progression should be praised though, with the main character now being far more fleshed out than a simple broken boy who gets saved by a quirky girl. Overall, Higehiro has seriously improved since the release of these last two DLCs, to the point where you're seriously missing out if you skip out on this show. I genuinely can't praise it enough. And yet, in spite of all this, the show still has haters, and some people have the audacity to give it a low rating. I've taken all of this into consideration, which is why I've decided to revise my original rating of this anime. It is with pleasure that I announce I will now be giving Higehiro a strong 6 out of 10. Now, I know what you guys are probably thinking. Has he gone insane? Has he been pressured by the countless numbers of people telling him to change his score? And the answer is, that's all, guys. Make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button if you love women and minorities.